Hello and welcome back. This is Christopher Aaron. This is the iGold Advisor channel. It is March 25th, 2025. And let us update what is happening with the gold and silver mining sector. And if you're only investing in the physical metal, here's why you should watch this video as well. It's because what happens in the mining complex is often a prelude to what is going to happen in the physical metals themselves. I study the miners, even if I'm only going to be buying the physical metal. So let's watch this gold and silver mining update for the strength of the overall sector. Glad to have you here. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you'll be notified when these videos come out on YouTube. If you have 1 second to give it a thumbs up, I very much appreciate that. Thank you for that. Last but not least, make sure to follow us on X or Twitter at iGlobalGold, because sometimes I post free updates there during the middle of the week when I don't have a chance to post here on YouTube. Okay, our legal disclaimer, and then we go. So here is the chart of the GDX. This is the large cap gold and silver miners fund going back for the last 5 years. Okay, so this is the beginning of 2020. Here is the present. We have some extra space to talk about here. The first thing that we want to talk about is notice that the mining sector, look at where it is, right back up here, right back at this 2020 peak. And what you will notice is that there have been 1, 2, 3, 4, and now what? A 5th attempt to break upward from this 5-year resistance zone. Now listen, guys, nothing is guaranteed in the markets, just as in life. However, I have studied these patterns over and over and over again throughout history across so many different markets, so many different timescales, not only the precious metals, but other commodities and other indices as well. And I will tell you, it would be extremely rare to see a market make 5 distinct attempts to try to break above a resistance zone and then for that to fail. You look at what is really shaping up here. It's a giant cup formation. Can you see that? The lower sloping sort of cup formation over here and very flat resistance. It's really clear to see. So in my nearly 20 years of analyzing the markets from this basis, what I would tell you is it's a question not of if the sector is going to break out. It's simply a question of when. And when a market has made 5 distinct attempts to break out over the course of 5 years, that's telling me that it's getting pretty close. It's getting pretty close. So there could be a few more weeks here. There could be a month or two. But I don't think you have that much more time before this sector makes a rapid move to the upside. Think about what happened to physical gold. It was basing beneath that 2000 level for 4 years, right? And it just broke out a year ago above 2000. What happened in the 1 year after it broke out? It went from 2000 to 3000, a 50% gain in 1 year. The GDX, the miners, are making that same pattern. It's just about a year delayed from where gold was. So in my highest probability, this is going to break out strongly to the upside, and I don't think you have very much time to finalize your gold and silver sector portfolio. Now, the good thing is for us is that we have a very reliable way of measuring a target for a pattern like this, a consolidation pattern, and we can take the amplitude of the widest part of the cup here, which is 24 points, and we can add that onto the breakout point so that when we get into the future, we're talking about, let's say, 2026, we have a very reliable way of measuring that the GDX, the overall gold and silver miners, should be rising by at least 52% after this level here at point number 5 is broken to the upside. And this matches the gain that we've just seen in gold. So it looks like the miners are delayed and then they want to have a catch-up move here. So this is going to be my official expectation for the average gold and silver miners in the GDX fund. Remember, amidst this kind of move, I would expect the junior gold miners to roughly double this move. So in other words, they would move about 100% higher. And then I would expect the development stage gold and silver miners, the companies that are developing new deposits in the ground, they're not yet mining because they're very highly leveraged to the metals prices. I would expect those companies to triple. In other words, a 200% gain as the overall large caps, the GDX, is rising by 52%. So keep this in mind for a backdrop. Now, let's pull up this chart again and let's strip away all the annotations except point number 1, point number 5. What makes me so excited and where I really believe that this is actually going to happen is so just pay attention to the fact that functionally speaking, the GDX is back to where it was at point number 1, right? I mean, we can see point number 1 and number 5 match. So the GDX has finally gotten break even at where it was back in 2020. Notice at the exact same time when we study the analytics out of Google, as far as what are investors searching for, notice that over the exact same period of time, the interest is down by 70%. Remember, we were talking about these sentiment indicators a couple weeks ago. You want to be a contrarian. You don't want to think about this as a negative. You want to think about this meaning, hey, the sector got back to where it was 5 years ago with 70% less interest. Can you imagine when this 70% more interest comes back into the sector? That's what's going to take it to this. When those latecomers start piling on after the breakout happens here as we go to the target, because they've been on the wrong side of this. We can see the evidence for that in the sentiment indicators. So you have to think about right now, do you want to be one of those investors that is chasing this market higher after the breakout occurs, or do you want to be getting involved in the sector now? The service that we offer, if you would like to follow the exact gold and silver miners that we are investing in here, is called Precious Metals Intelligence Plus. You can subscribe. You get the exact buy and sell signals that we are using. You also get all of the research into physical gold, physical silver, Bitcoin, the stock market, the rest of the commodity sector, because everything is related. If you're only paying attention to what's happening to the precious metals, then you are missing the big signal that we are watching right now, which is the relationship between the stock market and the physical gold market. It is making a once-in-a-generation signal right now, but I have not discussed it here on YouTube. Only our premium members know what I am talking about. That is called Precious Metals Intelligence Plus. We publish every single week so that you can be the most fully informed investor out there. If you'd like to sit down with myself and book a consultation, I can review your portfolio. I can tell you what I would do if I was in your situation. Remember, this is from someone who studies this sector full time, and I do not take any fees or kickbacks from any of the mining companies or any of the bullion funds or anything like that. 100% independent so that I can offer you unbiased analysis on your situation. Our service for higher net worth investors is called Elite Private Placements. In this service, we buy similar gold and silver mining companies as you just saw in the GDX, but we get even more gain potential for the same amount of dollars invested because we receive free warrants with every single investment that we are making. Those free warrants get you nearly twice the upside compared to buying the companies in the open market. Just keep in mind, if you're a higher net worth investor, you really have to think about getting the most for your money. Remember, you also receive a free subscription to our flagship service if you join us in the Elite Private Placements, and I expect to have a new private placement available within the coming weeks. I'll make an announcement about that, but you've got to get signed up before that placement closes. So in sum, we see a 70% drawdown in interest in the gold and silver mining sector over the last 5 years at the exact same moment that the sector is about to break out. And then we have a plus 52% target for the sector when that happens. Do not miss this breakout.